Right, we've got to build a set of handlebars with the electrics and the control cables.
For a what?
Harley Davidson 45. You've got to fight for your right to party. Got to put together a set of bars for a Harley Davidson WL or Big Twin. So you've got your outer control cables, inner control cables, horn push and light switch, and obviously your twist grips. Different trains of thought. You can put your outer cables in first, then try and wiggle the wires. I think it's easier to put the wires in first.
Yeah.
So I've soldered the 3 wires to the switch. So you have red and black in the middle. Doesn't matter which way round those two go, and that's dip and main beam on the switch, yeah?
Yeah.
So you want those down through. For some strange reason, these handlebars have got the switches on this side. Normally they're on that side.
Okay.
But no idea why. So you've got a hole there and a hole there that your outer cables come out of.
Yeah.
You've got a hole here that your wiring comes out of. So I've screwed them, penny washers, cut the screws onto a bit of wood, so you can just roll them around, save scratching them all up on the bench, yeah?
Good idea.
So we want to pull our wires through from that hole to that hole. So push them down through there, see if we can see it come out the other end anywhere. Right, so you've got your one wire in there, another wire with a little hook on the end.
Ah, yes.
Yeah? So you can try and hook him out of there. So there's our other bit of wire there. I'll pull him back out a little bit. So there, push him through, and then we've got a draw wire, yeah? Okay. Oh shit. So that's a draw wire. Bit of sticky tape. Right, so a bit of pushing and pulling and wiggling. We'll try and get those through. It's not a very big hole, but you've got to get those wires through, so push them through as you're pulling on your cable wire. There's one comes through.
And if you're really lucky.
Yep. Let's get rid of that now. That's just going to smash everything off the bench. All I use is aluminium welding wire, so it just bends nice and easy.
Yeah.
We might need that again in a minute to do the horn wire. So you don't want to get them crossed like I have there, but as soon as we get it up to that position there, we should be alright.
Any trick on neck to this, or is it just perseverance?
Well, I've got those wires crossed round because when you put them together, look, so you get a natural smaller circumference if you put the 3 like that, like in a pyramid.
Right.
So 2 against 1.
Yeah.
Now I've got them crossed, they're all like that, and it won't go through the hole properly.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking it back out, so it can do one. Just keep wiggling and they'll go in the end. Right, so leave them off for the moment. Right, now we've got to try and get our horn wire in. Let's get our wire again. See if we can slide her up in there that way this time. So we're looking for it to come through the middle of the bars somewhere there, yeah? I can just see it over there. Right, so we've got it there. I'll pull him back out very slowly. That's the end. I want to try and push it back in. I might push it a bit more, don't I? Let's try it. That's great. Right, okay. You always want to put a bit of tape on the end, because if it doubles round it can get jammed up.
Yeah.
It's not really doing anything. But
Just stops it catching.
yeah. And then you've got to try and, once this is all in, wiggle your outer control cable through the whole lot.
This is when it gets difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. Damn. So leave all of that loose at the moment. Right, so that's that lot. Those three, not the horn, those three go through that bit of conduit. Again, try and keep them in that triple pattern, like a pyramid, and they'll just slide in easier. Once you've got them all the way through the outer sheath, you can just pull it, it doesn't make any difference, but it's just easier to slide them through when they're like that.
Yeah.
Once you've got all three out the top, right, that's that then. And that slides up to there. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, the horn wire doesn't go in that.
Okay.
Yeah, because the two of those, I can't remember which one it is now, that one and that one I think, should go to a junction plate on the front, so why they don't run it in that.
It's weird, isn't it?
But it is, that's how they are. Right, so you've got outer control cables. Both the same length because you trim them down afterwards.
Yep.
Right, so you've got to feed them down through there, past all those wires, and out the hole in the end of there. But you can't get them out until you take that ferrule off.
Okay.
Okay? So they just unscrew. Okay? So that, we've got to slide through there, all the way down through there, and you've got a hole, is it on the headlamp side? No, it's this side. So you see that hole there? That, you have to push this in until that slot is in the middle of that hole. So that lines up with that, like that, and then you've got a little tiny grub screw, one of those, yeah?
Yeah.
And that stops your outer cable moving in and out.
Okay.
As you twist the bars.
Yeah.
And that's come through. Look at that. So these are always a bit tight coming around the corner. So now, to make your life easier, when you trim the outer cables down, you have to take the inners back out. You have to slide them out the handlebar grip, yeah?
Yeah.
But trying to get a piece of wire that thin, that's naturally been in a coil,
Yeah.
down through that handlebar to pick up that little tiny hole in the end of there, when it's down there, is a pain.
Yeah.
So do yourself a favour and assemble your twisters now and your sliders, and then it's just makes, because you don't, when you adjust the length of the cable, you don't have to cut the inner, you just pull it out as long as you've got a little bit left in here.
Yeah.
So you can just slide it straight back in again. Yeah, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just I spent like an hour trying to get the bloody thing in the hole, you know.
Yeah.
She cried. Right, so that's your two control wires, one throttle, one advance and retard, yeah?
Okay.
So what you have to do, get your slider, your plunger, which goes in and out your bars inside. So that cable's got to be held firm in there, yeah?
Yeah.
So that goes that way, we want that to face that. Because that holds it all together. You put your screw on there. You lock that up on there. Right, so you've got no slack on that. So now, you see, instead of trying to feed all of that down that handlebar,
Yeah.
get it in that hole there, you just put that in there now.
Piece of cake, huh?
Okay. Don't have to go all the way, just as long as it's through the hole. Right, now we can slide that whole lot through to try and pick up our grub screw. You have to pull that with it. Screwdriver. Sometimes you have to give them a little tap because there's a slight ridge in them. That's gone. Right, so now what we're doing is getting your glasses. Thank you. What we're looking for is the end of our slider. Okay, well I can just see the edge of it there, so you keep pushing that in. Might need a little tap. Right, you can see the edges of it there coming through the holes?
No, not at all. Never mind.
Right, look there and there. Keep pushing. Right, that's the middle of the groove there.
Okay.
So I know that that grub screw now can go in there. And that stops your outer cable pulling in or out, yeah?
Okay.
So when you put your horn wire in and done, that holds the grub screw. Switch, light switch in. Right, now let's put our other outer cable through now. That's all done, that's all done. So, a screw for that one.
So you bring that far back, sorry, you bring that through as far as it'll go?
No, because you've got to put your grub screw in, you've got to line it up with your hole.
Okay, so you've got to be careful not to pull it too far
Don't
through.
want to go past the grub screw hole, yeah. And that goes that way. Should be. Okay, so we can just see it there, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do a little tap. Okay, so we can push that down and get that grub screw started. So that's a hold our outer cable. So that is that. So they're both in. All your wiring's done. Now we've got to do is assemble our sliders, yeah? I won't grease anything yet. It will all have to be greased. Eh? Why don't that go in the hole? I'm not liking this. Right, Right, so that one's gone in the slider okay. That side's obviously tight for some reason, so we'll look at that. Right, order of assembly on these. You've got your slider goes up and down, yeah? You've got a spiral on the inside of that.
Yeah.
So as you turn it, it pulls that way or that way.
Okay, yeah.
So that's this side's advance and retard. So you've got a pin, goes in the hole, like so. Then you've got a square sided slider. That one fits nicely. Okay, make sure it slides okay.
Yeah.
Then you've got a round washer, goes on the top of that. And if you look at it, I need my glasses, hold on. Make sure I've got it the right way up.
It's like Clark Kent.
That face there, the top side, has got a radius down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you've got a flat on the bottom. So you put your flat slider in, you want the radius side upwards.
Yeah.
So he sits on there.
Yeah.
And then your twist grip goes on, and that rotating washer goes in your slot in the groove, yeah?
Oh right, yeah.
So slide him on. That picks up on that, and then you've got your end plug. Obviously all this needs greasing up, but I don't want to do it at the moment because it's got white handlebar grips.
Nice.
Me and white grips.
Yeah. Do not mix.
Right, so you got a little bit of play there, which they did do washers to take that play out, or I can machine up, but I mean that's nothing critical there. The cable's moving nicely on the other end, look. And that's that, and I don't know why this one won't fit in the hole. Sometimes they just have tight bits on them, you know. Right, so in the end of that, there was a little, two little slots. See that little slot I'm in there? Just lets you twist it, that's all. So once you've got your pin in, you're away. Can't slip back round because of that natural curl where the cable's been wound up.
Yeah. I'm up here.
It's quite tight that, so we'll try it and see what it's like. Rotary side round up. Yeah, that's good. So that's it, all done, ready to bolt on the bike. Then all you've got to do is trim these down to length, which you do by pushing your inner back out, pull that through, not pulling it all the way out, and you can trim down your length you want, put your ferrules back on, and you're ready to rock and roll.
And that's how you do that.
That's how you do that.